Every iPhone boldly claims it's designed in California. But behind the glossy exterior, there's a startling truth. This cutting-edge device is assembled thousands of miles away in China. Apple, a tech titan, sells an astounding 220 million iPhones yearly. The catch? The vast majority of these phones are made in China. From glass screens to batteries, nearly every component is crafted in China and shipped worldwide to Apple's largest market, the United States. And just last week, US President Donald Trump delivered a chilling warning. Tariffs are coming. While he momentarily spared electronics like smartphones and computers, he clarified that these tariffs are on the rise. His goal? To force American companies to manufacture at home. However, the question remains, could this tariff policy be the death knell for Apple's golden supply chain? What began as a game-changing opportunity is now a looming obstacle. Apple's journey into China dates back to the 1990s, when the company first dipped its toes into the market with computers. But in 1997, on the brink of bankruptcy, Apple saw something they couldn't ignore, a golden opportunity in China's booming economy. In 2001, Apple moved, partnering with Foxconn to manufacture the iPod, the iMac, and later, the iPhone. As China's trade expanded with the world, Apple's empire grew. Today, Apple runs more than 50 stores in China, and its largest iPhone factory, known as iPhone City, looms in Zhengzhou. By 2024, 150 of Apple's top 187 suppliers will be based in China, a staggering 80% of its supply chain. And Apple's CEO, Tim Cook, has clarified one thing. There is no supply chain more important to us than China. But now, the pressure is mounting, and the clock is ticking. Despite a temporary sigh of relief during the first wave, Apple is now squarely in the crosshairs of the US administration's new tariff policies. These tariffs, they argue, will push for domestic manufacturing while severing dependence on foreign supply chains. In a statement, Trump's Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick made a bold prediction. The iPhone is made of millions of screws, and one day this work will return to the United States. But the battle is far from over. White House spokeswoman Carolyn Leavitt echoed this sentiment. We will no longer rely on China to produce our mobile phones, laptops, and chips. But here's the twist. According to analysts, the situation is not as simple as it sounds. For a tech giant like Apple, suddenly relocating its massive, intricate supply chain back to the United States is not just a challenge, it's virtually impossible. Instead, Apple is quietly pivoting some of its production to Vietnam and India. Yet, those countries are not safe from the looming threat of tariffs. Still, most of Apple's devices are assembled in China. Apple may not have commented directly on the issue, but its website admits that its supply chain stretches over 50 countries. Apple never believed US assembly would work. It's completely unrealistic, says supply chain expert Eli Friedman. And he's not alone. According to Friedman, Apple has been quietly trying to reduce its reliance on China since 2013. However, the effort became urgent during the pandemic, when China's strict lockdowns disrupted the global tech supply chain. Yet, despite a decade of planning, very little has changed. Analysts say Apple will continue to depend on China as its main manufacturing base until it can successfully build large-scale alternatives elsewhere. And with Trump's escalating tariff war, that path looks more uncertain. So is breaking free from China even possible, or is it a dangerous illusion? In today's global economy, a dramatic exit from China by a company like Apple wouldn't just be difficult, it could strike a devastating blow to China itself. Apple's operations support millions of jobs across China. If Apple were to pack up and leave, the ripple effect could destabilize the economy, which is still recovering from the pandemic's impact. As global consultant Jigar Dixit puts it, these tariffs have revealed just how deeply we depend on China. But China hasn't taken the tariffs quietly. In retaliation, Beijing has hit back with its wave of counter-tariffs, some reaching 125%. Even more concerning, China has begun restricting the export of critical minerals. a move that has shaken the entire global tech industry and tightened the screws on Apple even further. So what's the escape route? Vietnam and India have emerged as hopeful alternatives, but even these safe havens are now under threat. Take Vietnam, for example. Apple has already shifted some production there. AirPods are now made in Vietnamese factories. However, the Trump administration has announced a crushing 46% tariff on Vietnamese imports. There's a 90-day grace period for now, but the clock is ticking. And the challenge doesn't stop there. Eli Friedman explains, the countries where you can build Foxconn-style megafactories, they're mostly in Asia. But now, those places are being hit with tariffs too. So what happens to Apple next? After dominating China's market for years, Apple faces a serious challenge. Chinese tech giants, Huawei, Xiaomi, and Vivo, are rising fast, strengthening their grip on the domestic market. At the same time, Apple is battling a new wave of government restrictions under the Xi Jinping regime. Key features like AirDrop and Bluetooth are being throttled, and in a rare move, Apple was even forced to slash iPhone prices in January to stay competitive. Analysts say this is about more than just protecting sales. It's Apple sending a message. And now, a new frontier is opening, the AI revolution. But Apple may already be falling behind. With ChatGPT and other Western artificial intelligence tools banned in China, Apple struggles to compete in a rapidly shifting market toward AI-powered smartphones. Meanwhile, Chinese tech titan Huawei is surging ahead. Its latest devices, powered by homegrown AI chips, are gaining massive traction in the Chinese market, outpacing Apple in both innovation and acceptance. The stakes couldn't be higher. As tech transforms, Apple faces the risk of being outpaced by political roadblocks and a new wave of intelligent devices reshaping consumer expectations. Supply chain expert Eli Friedman puts it bluntly, tariffs won't destroy Apple, but they'll shake its supply chain to the core. Moving a system this massive, this complex, is nearly impossible overnight. Apple now stands at a critical crossroads, trapped between rising tariffs, intensifying global competition, and a rapidly shifting tech landscape. The question now is no longer just about where the iPhone is made. It's about whether Apple can evolve fast enough to survive the storm. So what do you think? Is this the beginning of Apple's next significant transformation, or the start of its most difficult chapter yet? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dive stories like this.